Good day everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to season number 12 of the Retro Glory Hunter, the 0708 Mr. Tiny Mad Scientist database. You know the score. We are well into this save now and we have moved on to pastures new. As you can see, we have taken on the new task of moving to Italy, which is one of our last two countries to complete. And yes, we have arrived at Lazio. I did allude to it in the previous episode, should I say, that there were a few jobs around Atalanta, Roma, I think even Napoli came up at one point. And the manager merry-go-round went around a lot actually over the summertime, which I will explain in a second of how this all occurred. But just a quick recap on the trophy cabinet. So we have 4 Champions Leagues in the trophy cabinet. We have 1 UEFA Cup in the cabinet. We have also completed the Premier League and the FA Cup in England. We have also completed the Portuguese League and the Portuguese Cup, or the Taça de Portugal, whatever you want to call it. We have also finished, finally, France, Ligue 1 and the French Cup are in the cabinet, nice and safe and sound, and also Spain with La Liga and the Spanish Cup. Whew, that's a lot to go through. So, anyway, on the job side of things, we moved to Lazio after we spent, I'd say, 3 successful seasons at Lyon, and it was really successful last season, doing the quadruple all the way through. But there were a few other options coming up, but I was invited to interviews for Real Madrid, Sevilla, and a couple of others, but obviously I don't need Spain anymore. So I was a little bit worried I wasn't going to get the Lazio one. I thought I was going to get pipped. Jose Mourinho, funny old thing, was the favourite. But eventually they came in, gave me an interview, and I'm hit at Lazio. So I am now Roman, Lazio Roman, that is. Now, forgive me if there are any Lazio or Roma fans that do come across this video and watch it. I don't know the complete intricacies of your rivalry, so I apologise if I get everything wrong. Just getting that out there now. So, anyway, one of the reasons that Lazio attracted me was the size of their transfer budget. Their finances are actually really, really healthy. I still have nearly 26 million in the transfer budget, 47 million overall. There is no debts or loans, which really surprises me for an Italian team. And I went fairly large in the transfer market. I had a few players move in and out. So before the takeover, which will be here, the only one that came in or was already pre-arranged actually is somebody who I went for in my last season at Lyon, Tim Brooks. An American central midfielder who can play all the way through the spine on the team. You can understand why I wanted him. I wanted him to come in as, I think, as a shadow striker, if I remember rightly. But he picked Lazio instead, and he moved there on loan and made the permanent transfer without me even doing a single thing. So, for a player of this caliber to come in, perfect. Not going to complain about that one little bit. And he is going to go in straight into my system, and I'll show you in a second. That was it before the takeover on the incomings. The outgoings, again, a pre-arranged one, a Keith Watson, a player, never even heard of, a Scottish player. Never even heard of him, to be fair. He's gone to Sporting Lisbon because he was already there on loan last season. But this is where the big stuff happens. So I came in like a bull in a china shop. There were a few players that I definitely didn't want in the squad. There was a lot of players that were old. As seems to be the way with Italian teams because they last a lot longer in Italy. It must be the olive oil or the pasta or something, I don't know. But a lot of players went out. Magia and Perna both went to Tristiana for a combined total of, what, 6 million-ish. Andrea Lucci went to Celtic with 3.6. Emerson, who's a fullback who could play either side, he's gone to Real Madrid, but he left because of the non-EU rule. That's a bit of a ball buster, this one. Alcide Biandir, obviously Man United goalkeeper in real life. 20 years old, he needed game time, but he wasn't going to get it in my side because of the keeper I've already got. So he's gone for 18. Nicholas Bentner. There's a blast from the past on the name side of things. And he has gone to Newcastle, of all teams, for 18.5 million. Mateus Funchal has gone to Bayern Munich for 33. And Fabio Santa Croce has gone to Arsenal for 32.5 million. Again, another defender, Italian defender, 32 now. I got better than that. I definitely got better than that. And for those eagle-eyed viewers, who have already had a little sneak peek at the incomings, you will see some pretty damn famous names on there. So starting from the bottom, Ousmane Dembele, obviously at PSG in real life, former Barcelona winger/striker. I managed to get him for an absolute snip, and I wanted another right-sided winger. I had a look at a couple of other players that were around, and Dembele was my man. He's got a 5-star potential ability. His attributes are disgustingly good already. So I brought him in for 12.5 million. But this, I mean, I'm torn between which one is my best transfer in this window. But I managed to get Trent Alexander-Arnold, regen from Liverpool at the age of 19, who has still got a lot of development time. Weirdly can play centre-back. Never a centre-back. Ever. Don't ever try and put Trent as a centre-back. And he's still got a lot of growing time, and I think he'll actually be a first-teamer this season. I really do. We already have a couple of right-backs. Valan Barami is another one, and I can't remember the other one at the moment. But I think for 20 million, eat that, Real Madrid. Paul Pogba was the next one. I brought him from Werder Bremen. His career, he started off at Man United, went to Lens, Werder Bremen for a couple of seasons. Wow. For 45 million quid, I got him in. Okay, yeah, he doesn't like the big games, and he's a little bit susceptible to injuries, but I couldn't turn it down. But I had to go for him because I went for Encante at Lyon. And he turned me down. He turned me down and went to Valencia, another one of my former clubs. So I was a little bit miffed at that. But Pogba, just as good a replacement on here anyway. And I wanted another centre-back, seeing as Santa Croce went, and I wanted somebody younger and potentially better, and I think Milan Skriniar is definitely up there. His physicals are still growing. Everything's still growing because he's still only 23. Very happy to bring this guy in for 50 million, so I spent quite a lot of money for the first time in quite a while, but I really enjoyed it, and that's going into the tactic that I've made. Very similar to the one that we had at Lyon, but I've made the wing back on support so that can encompass Trent's ability. Brooks I'm nailing in as the Segundo Volante. I'm hoping, in fact, if I do a quick pick without restriction, best 11, Brooks stays there, Pogba comes in, Barami takes over the right back slot, Freddie Adu is here at this squad. The all-time football manager wonder kid, Freddie Adu, is in my team. Things you love to see. But bearing in mind, I did have him in my team when I was at Benfica as well. So, but he's developed a lot more now. Okay, 3-star ability, not the best, but still very good. And he's my shadow striker, apparently. I've got Paul Anderson. I've got this French chap, Yanis Favre, who I don't think is a real-life player, but my God, his physicals are nuts. I think he's going to have an absolute... Well, he started off with 3 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, and a 7.7. I think this guy's going to have a baller of a season, to be fair, starting off like that. As I say, if we have a look at the squad, this is how it's laying out. My goalkeeper, Juan Pablo Carrizo, is going nowhere. He is staying put, absolutely phenomenal. I've got Justin Bijlow as my backup. Jonathan Tah as my other centre-back. Jose Gaia, another former player of mine from Valencia, is at left-back. Dembele, Bruno Fernandes is in the team here, who actually I think will take over from Freddie Adu as a shadow striker, personally. Bruno Fernandes, Musa Barrow, Goran Pandev is still here, the legendary Macedonian striker, and is still amazing. I mean, look at those attributes, even at the age of 35. Yeah, he can't jump and his pace is lacking, but my God, what a striker he is. So, we have the competitions of the Serie A, UEFA Cup, and the Coppa Italia to go for this year, but obviously it's the Coppa Italia and the league that I'm only interested in. UEFA Cup would be nice. It's always nice to win another trophy. But let's go run the highlights reel, find out what happens. I'll see you guys in a few seconds. Being at a new club and introducing a new system to the team proved to be our biggest test this season. After winning our first 5 of 6, we lost the next 3 of 4, including a 1-0 versus Udinese, a 1-0 versus AC Milan, and a 2-1 versus Sampdoria, which all proved to be costly. In fact, even though we gained wins, 3-1 versus Roma, great derby win, a 3-0 versus Parma, a 5-0 battering of AC Milan, and a 4-1 of Napoli, it was that early season form versus our rivals, a 2-0 loss to Inter, a 3-0 loss to Juve, and a 2-1 loss to Fiorentina, meant we missed out on the Serie A title by 4 points in our first season. The Coppa Italia is, well, a brief competition. After beating Messina 4-0, we were resoundingly whooped 4-1 by Inter Milan and knocked out virtually straight away. Our European challenge this year was the UEFA Cup. We totally breezed through the league phase, winning 7 of 8. 4-2 versus Everton, a 7-0 versus Karabag, and a 2-0 versus Lens set us up very nicely. We skipped the knockouts and got AEK Athens in round of 16. We dispatched them 5-3 on aggregate, and again we were drawn in the next round against RC Lens, and we dispatched them 6-1 on aggregate. This meant a semi-final versus Everton. We drew at Goodison 2-2, but our luck ran out at home as we lost on penalties after ending the game 0-0. Whoa, God, that was so damn close to nailing the Italian season in our first year. That would have been beautiful if that happened, because it would have been only Germany left. Which, before, actually, just out of curiosity more than anything, let's go and have a quick look at the job centre to see if there is anything available. No, I want manager, and I want to take all nations off, bar Germany. Where are you? There you are. Only one. Gladbach. Well, guess that answered that question then. We're staying with Lazio for at least another season, potentially. But as competitions go, 4 points off AC Milan. And it's, as I alluded to in the highlights reel, it was the form in our schedule at the earlier part of the season. As obviously the team were getting used to a slightly newer system. So losing to Udinese, again, eventual league champions, we lost to Milan, Sampdoria, Catan. Yeah, oh God. Just a couple of those losses. I mean, okay, but Napoli, Inter, the big boys, is always going to be competitive. It can go either way. I don't dispute that. But losing to the smaller teams is a hard one to take, because we shouldn't have. But we live and learn, hopefully. Some improvements in the transfer window will hopefully improve that for the following season. But yes, that is still a little bit disappointing. Even more disappointing to get knocked out of the UEFA Cup by Everton. Ugh. And on penalties as well, which meant they went to the final and they faced Villarreal. I feel confident if we got to the final, we probably would have won that as well. And then, obviously, the Coppa Italia, we didn't last very long. Inter Milan went on to win it. So, if we have a look at the squad-wise, okay. I think I can see a little bit of the problem. I'll have a look at the injury record in a second, but 24-4 from Fernandez, who is a phenomenal striker, but doesn't look like he played enough. Did he get injured this season? Not really. Just not a lot of picks or starts. So, that's kind of curious. I may have to solidify him in for the season. I knew he was going to have a good Favre. 49 games, 23 goals, 10 assists. That is perfect. Pandev even got another 10 and 7. Tim Brooks, in his first season as Segundo Volante, 9 and 12. He played every single game. Pogba even got 7 and 10. Paul Anderson got 7 and 12. Again, I forgot to mention Paul Anderson, another former player of mine from Liverpool as well. So it's like a reunion at this Lazio squad. Freddie Adu got 6 and 7. Fernandez 6 and 7 again. So we are getting the goals, but just not quite enough. I think we could have had a few more, especially from Dembele. Didn't even play that many games. That's disappointing. Trent did though. How's his development over the first season? Ooh. Well, I can tell you right now, his marking is never 16. In real life, I can tell you that right now. He's actually becoming a better defender than he is in real life. I love Trent to bits, but his defensive inadequacies are definitely on show. Let's see who else. Okay, Bijley didn't get a game at all. Diawara, Dulce Toleta-Car. Strakosha is the other goalkeeper, and he played 10 games, which must mean that Carrizo got injured at some point or didn't get picked. Injuries. Calf strain and broken lower arm. 6 weeks out. That could be the decider. Eesh. That's annoying. That is what could have possibly cost us. But to improve things, I'm going to have to raise some money. We've only got 29 million. Although our wage budget is huge. If I take that down a little bit, it's about there, get about another 10 million out of it. So that's not too bad at all. Well, as things stand, this is season number 12, done and dusted. We didn't win anything, so we roll on to season 13, possibly. Now, the reason why I say this is because at the time this video comes out, it'll be the end of February. Fingers crossed we will have all the Football Manager 2025 news, whether it's going to be released or not. So whether this series continues after this episode, guys, I'm not entirely sure. It's the same with the Nostalgia Journeyman one as well. I just do not know. At the time of recording, we just don't know what's happening. So, as things stand, this could be the last episode, but it may continue. We'll all find out soon enough. But thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the content that is coming out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Ta-ra.